Okay.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Heal Profoundly and Enduringly. My name is Laura Mazada. This is Mary Rose Granado. And
Hello.
we'll talk about all the fucking things. So happy Monday. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm going to introduce Mary Rose in just a second, but what I want you to do is get out a pen and paper, grab a glass of water, and get yourself ready to take some notes, because these shows are all about bringing forward those off the beaten pathways to heal yourself, to help other people heal in your life, and to really feel like a rock star. So grab your resources, write down your tools. This is free advice for you dudes. Okay. So who's Mary Rose? She's a fucking queen. All right. That's her bio. She's a queen. She's a wife to a supportive and loving husband, a mom to two adorable sweet boys, and a lovely girl pup. She's a full-time, is it CAD Tech or CAD? How do I pronounce it?
CAD Tech.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Specializes in rail design and a part-time Zumba instructor. To add to that, she's also a spiritual facilitator, where she supports in people's healing, whether it's through energy healing, Akashic Records reading, and Hawaiian healing. Mary Rose loves to connect with people and help bring them back to their natural state of goodness, be more connected to the spirits, to the source. And today she's talking about following the spiritual breadcrumbs and coming out of the spiritual closet at her own pace. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Oh my gosh, I miss you.
It's so fun to play. I love playing on these lives. It's so much fun. And I have to tell you, we could talk about Mary Rose's bio and all of her freaking credentials for years, but just being in her presence, like the second I'm with this woman, I feel like $1,000,000. Like your vibration, you don't have to say a freaking word, Mary Rose. You're just awesome. So there's my plug. But yeah, so I want to talk about this whole following the spiritual breadcrumbs thing. What does that mean? Tell us what that means.
So, I mean, so there's a lot of signs. Signs are everywhere. And before my awakening, maybe 4 years ago, I didn't know that they were there. I didn't know what to look for and such. Around that time during my awakening, I was looking, like I knew there was something more. Like my background, I was born and raised Catholic. Mm-hmm. And so I would go to church and all that stuff, but I felt like there was something more. Like I knew I believe in God, I believe in Jesus, I believe in Mother Mary, I believe in the saints and angels and all the things, but I felt like there was something more. Mm-hmm. And so when I started questioning and opened myself up with like I know I'm meant to do more, I know there's more, when I opened myself up to like receiving what else is there, the breadcrumbs just started falling. Mm-hmm. And I would just pick, although it's a little slow and it took me a while, because it's like I was scared, because being a Catholic, it's a little harder to say yes to that. Yeah. But I was like, I know there's more. So then when the breadcrumbs would come, I'll go and follow that path. And then I just kept going, whatever the universe is giving me, whatever God is giving me, whatever my angels are giving me. I'm just like, okay, let me try that. And like trusting that, I know that it will take me to the right path. And this is where I am right now.
Yeah, I love that, because that's one of the things I know that you believe, that one thing that we need to heal profoundly and enduringly is letting go of fear. Right. Yeah. So it's like, whether we're talking about Catholicism or organized religion or trauma history or whatever it is we're talking about, it's like what you just said was trust, right? Yeah. Being able to step out of that space of fear and trusting that whatever's meant to come your way will come your way and guide you in the right direction.
Right. I mean, being human, it's hard to do that. It's hard to trust, because like with spirituality, it's not like something that you would see in front of you. It's like, you're just going to be like, okay, I know I'm being led here, and there's a reason why I'm being led here. So I'm just going to be like, I'm going to say yes to this. Yeah. And see where it takes me. Because like, if you just trust that God, the universe has got your back, then it can't go wrong.
Right. Yeah.
Right. It can't go wrong. And then if it does like seems really bumpy, it means that you're supposed to go through that. Like it happens for you, not to you. So like whatever life lessons you learn from that, you're supposed to learn that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And trusting that. And I think that what ends up happening, like what you were just talking about, was this relationship with God and trusting God. And like, if you place your faith in God, you're good to go. And it's so funny that like, when we ultimately surrender to that fully, we feel like hiding, right? Like, which is so silly because it's like, that's actually like the strongest foundation that we're meant to scream about and like help other people know about. But that's when we hide. And that's what it means when we hide in the spiritual closet, because it's like, ooh, I don't want everybody to know that I'm like placing everything in God's hands. But it's funny because like how many people who do follow traditional Christianity preach about Jesus and following Christ all the time without shame. So it's like, why is it that we then feel shame going outside of those traditional definitions?
Right. Like that's my struggle, because that's my biggest fear. It's like I still struggle with that, with like, oh, once they find out, they're not going to be my friends anymore. Once they find out, they're going to shun me. Once they find out, they're not going to support me and they're going to judge me. But like, that's like my inner struggle. Like I have to be honest that like, it's still my struggle, you know? But I'm slowly coming out of the closet, and I know, like, I trust that they're God and my team, my soul team is supporting me. But sometimes it like gets me, and I'm like, oh, and I kind of step back into the closet. But it's a safety thing, right? Like it's a safety thing, it's a human thing. But like I still struggle with that. But like I really have to tell myself that it's okay. And I feel like the universe is really forcing me, because I keep saying, like, I keep like backtrack, I'm gonna hide in my closet. But they bring stuff into my field to push me. And I like today I was telling him, like, I'm scared, I'm nervous. But I was telling my girlfriends that, you know, I'm scared because when I go on in your show or this, then that means it's going to be public and people are going to know. And I'm going to tell you that I almost said no because I was scared, but I was like, no, like this is happening because it needs to happen and the universe is pushing me. So I'm saying yes. Yeah,
see, I like that, because it's like so many times we say no to things out of fear, and the fear is, you know, sometimes fear is actually guiding us in the right direction, but is it an excited fear, or is it like an avoidant fear? Right. And we can tell the difference between the two when we really are in tune with ourselves, and we can feel into that, and being able to realize that like the more we are who we are, and the more we wave our freak flag, right, the more that we attract those people that are like even more phenomenal than the people in our lives who might reject or not desire what we have to put on the table. And it's also a beautiful opportunity for acceptance, right? Like, and the only reason that bothers you is because there's still parts of you that aren't fully immersed in that belief and fully immersed in that like demonstrative confidence of, this is who I am and I believe in it so much.
Right.
Just like you do when you're parenting. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For sure. And you know, it's funny that you say that, because I did an impromptu healing last weekend. And it was just like, oh, can you see my friends, blah, and they live in Austin, so they're visiting in Fort Worth and they live in Austin. So I was just like, yeah, just come. Like I was busy, but it was like, this person was meant to come into my field so that I'm supposed to help them. So I did impromptu healing. It was a couple, and I did both of them at the same time, and it was fun. It was great. I was like, oh, this is like my purpose, and I love doing this. But like throughout the week, I started doubting myself. It's all in my head. Started doubting myself. I'm like, oh no, what if like the healing didn't, like, what if it's not what they're looking for, and things like that. But then I reminded myself, like, the healing is not about me, it's about them. They'll receive the healing that they're supposed to get that day. And whatever the messages that came out of my mouth, that came out of me, are messages from the source and from their soul team, and it's not up to me to judge, right? So then I let that go. And then I think it was Saturday, I got a text from my friend that introduced them to me and said that they said that, like, tell her I said thanks, and tell her that she is meant to do this and that she is helping people. So I'm like, oh my gosh, that's beautiful. That's just like I guess reinforcement and just kind of assurance for me to let me know that you are doing a good job, and you're of light, and the things that you do are of light and of love. Like,
Yeah.
Like, why be afraid to do that? You're not summoning the bad spirit, the bad energy. You're asking God for help. You're thanking God for being the vessel of light to spread love and light to the world. Like, what's wrong
Yeah.
with
And
that?
like, however, there's nothing wrong with that. And like,
Yeah.
however God decides to present it is how God decides to present it. So that could be through the Akashic Records. It could be through angels. It could be through Jesus. It could be through church, like
Right.
everybody, when they open their vessel, receives that in a different way. And there's nothing wrong with whatever way people bring it forward. It's just like, there's going to be people who resonate with how you bring it forward, people who resonate with how I do, and Joe Schmo next door, So it's like, yeah, there's somebody for everybody. And like, we're meant to be interdependent and to learn from one another. And we're actually meant to activate other people. And that's the hard part. That can be the intimidating part of being a light worker and sharing your light, because it's like, we are meant to activate other people. And sometimes activation looks like rubbing them the wrong way.
Yes, for sure.
Or bringing things forward that they're like, oh,
uncomfortable. Awkward.
Yeah, so awkward. And it's like, that's okay. Like you can then give them space to be able to process that and to be able to work through that. But then you still get to show up however you want. So what would you say is like some advice that you'd give somebody who kind of just had an awakening and they're still kind of hiding? Like, what would you recommend?
Take a deep breath.
Yep.
It's scary. The first awakening for me was I felt lost. And I didn't know who to ask, because it's not a common thing, there's not a lot of people that I know that are doing this new age per se thing, but it's really not new age. But anyway, so I didn't know anybody, and I didn't really know who to ask except for one or two people. And then it just so happened that my girlfriends were going through the same thing, and we ended up talking, and we're like, oh my gosh, yes. And now I've been so blessed because I have my girlfriends as my support, because we were going through the same thing at the same time. So we were helping each other out. But my advice is that to believe and have faith and just trust. Like, if you're being nudged, then it means it's the universe, is your soul team telling you like, hey, it's time to wake up. It's time to shed your light, like share your light and love with everybody. And that there's more to things than this box that we're supposed to be in.
See, I love that, because that's kind of what Marianne Williamson talks about in her book, Return to Love, which is all about A Course in Miracles. And she talks about like, you don't even have to talk about it in terms of God or source or the Akashic Records or angels or anything like that. It's just love. Like, God is love. It's just love. And what you just said is like, you're sharing yourself, you're sharing your love with other people. And so it's like, how can you ever go wrong sharing your love? We all need more love on this planet so much. And so it's like, to make it less daunting, just speak from your heart, like just share your love. Because I had the same feeling when I started with the Akashic Records, with the nudges you're talking about. It's like, I felt like this doesn't make sense. This isn't logical. It doesn't fit into my mental health box. All the egoic reasons why this didn't make sense, but then it was just those constant pulls. And finally I was literally like, fine, I'll sign up for the damn program. Fine. Like I was not on board. Like I was not on board. But man, I mean, that's the thing. Like, you can follow the little breadcrumbs and the little nudges, or you can take the leap. And there's no right or wrong. And you're going to find that like sometimes, depending on certain situations in your life, you will follow little breadcrumbs and allow it to build, because your nervous system needs more time to adjust and you need to kind of digest it and feel safe.
Yes.
But then other times it's like, dude, I can dive into this one. Let's go.
Yes. So it's funny that you say that, because so when I was starting my awakening, I was seeing a massage therapist, and she and I talked about like everything. Like, we were open to talking about like third dimensions, like awakening stuff. And then she told me that because she had a space and she was renting a room in her office for a psychic medium. And it took me a year to see her. And like, because I was scared because it's not the Catholic way, like if you
Right,
go see a
right.
psychic medium, you're like, whatever. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna go see. I'm gonna go see her. But it took me a year. And I finally saw her. And it was such a magical experience because, and she and I are friends now, but it was a magical experience because like I connected with my grandma and my grandpa. And my grandma, and that like gave me understanding of how, like what she felt when she was alive, because she brought that up. And I was like, wow, I didn't know that. And then now my grandma and my grandpa are like in front of my, like they're guiding me, they're protecting me. Like my grandma is fierce, and she's always been fierce, but they're right in front of my team.
Yeah.
And they're guiding me and they're supporting me, and I see butterflies and dragonflies, and I know that's them. But anyway, I saw my the psychic medium, and halfway through the thing, she said, I don't really think you're here for mediumship. I think you're here for spiritual awakening. I'm like, how did you know that? Well, duh, she's a psychic medium, duh. But like,
Obviously.
yeah, duh, she knows. But she opened me up, and like, it was such a crazy, that was when I was seeing so much stuff. Like during our session, she opened me up, and I legit saw like between me and my head and her head, like a bridge, but it was kind of like it's like glass see-through, but like I couldn't see it with my physical eyes, but I could see it with my mind's eye, but like that. And then lights would flicker, like just as not as scary, like ooh, lights are flickering, but like flickering, because like she would say something, I would say something, and then there's a flicker. It's just like an acknowledgement from my team saying yeah. So I don't know where I was going with this, but I forgot. Anyway,
I have thoughts on it. Do you want me to share, or are you still
yes,
talking?
no,
Okay, so
I forgot. I was talking too
I
much.
have two thoughts on it.
Okay.
One is like so when she kind of called you out and said, I think you're here for a spiritual awakening, you felt so relieved. And like you felt seen, and you were like, oh my gosh, and like almost liberated, right? Like, oh, thank God, like somebody put words to this, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the feeling that somebody else receives from us when we say it how it is and we're authentic. So it's like you were talking about your friends and they were like, oh, I've got the same thing going on. And you're like, oh my gosh, let's talk about it. It's like that elephant in the room, right? We all know what that feeling feels like when there's an elephant in the room and nobody's freaking talking about it. So it's like, that's the elephant in the room. You're brave enough to bring it up.
Right.
Whatever that is, whether it's love, whether it's spiritual awakening, whether it's fear, whatever it is, it's like you see it, you feel it, and you're the one who's brave enough to open her mouth and say, it's there, let's address it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love
Which
that.
I think is a something that people can connect with more because they understand that concept.
Yes.
Rather than like, oh, I have all this spiritual shit and I'm supposed to like share it with the world. Well, actually, you're just bringing something up that's present for everyone at some level. And if they're not at the level to receive it, then they'll just say no.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. For sure. Now I remember why I was talking about leap.
Yeah.
So, because I was afraid, like it took me a year really to see her, and I was like, I'm just gonna do this, and I did it. And then that like opened up my mind even more, because after that I started seeing more stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and then stuff coming into my field, like Suzanne Giesman, I don't know if you've heard of her. She's another psychic medium. And so she had a weekend seminar, literally 2 minutes from my house in San Diego. Like, that's like God's wink is what she calls it. Because I emailed her. I'm like, and that weekend that she had it, we were supposed to go to Hawaii. So like I could only go on the Saturday, and it was a Saturday and Sunday, but we had to leave on Sunday. So I was able to attend the Saturday session, and my gosh, I was so excited because that was my first time playing and like sensing people behind me and like what their thought, like it was so fun. It was so good. And I was like, I do have this power, and everyone has this power. Like, why are we like not using this power to make this world a better place? Like, why is that? But it is what it is. But it was fun. It was fun that and to know that anyone, it's not just special people, Anyone can have this power. Anyone has this gift, and just to use it.
And I love that you talked about fun, because it is fun. And like, why do we need any other reason to do this shit other than the fact that it's fun? I mean, listen, like, I'm healing like a boss. I'm more confident and happy and vibrant than I've ever been in my life. However, I can also just do it because it's fun. Like, we're meant to have fun on this planet and just play and like enjoy each other and try out like random crazy ass experiences. Like, why is it more acceptable to jump out of a fucking plane skydiving than to talk about my healing through energy? Like, I don't understand. Like, that's fun and that's wild and crazy and it's acceptable. Right?
And that's more deadly because you can die from like jumping out of the airplane. This one is like, no.
Yeah. God's not going to kill me because I connect to the Akashic. It's not going to happen. No. So I know that one thing you wanted to share with us today was a little bit of a tool, right? Like, just to some things that you've learned from your Hawaiian healing mentor, right? That you feel could be really supportive to people. So could you share that with us so we can add that to our toolbox, please?
Of course, I'd love to. So after I got certified as a Hawaiian healer ish, a couple of months ago, and one thing that stuck to me, and I've been pretty good about it, practicing it every day. Sometimes I forget, let's be honest, but
yeah, we all do.
But I try to do it every day, at least right before I put when I wake up, right before I put my feet on the ground, I give thanks and thank my team for being a part of our day, for protecting us, keeping us safe, healthy, and protected, and guiding us, and just being with us. And then right when I step my feet on the floor, then this is what I do. So it's 4 things. So grounding, filter of protection, cord pulling, separating. So the third one is kind of like, I just kind of make it my own. But the fourth one is the telephone lines, feelers. So I'll explain that. So the first one is grounding. So you could have your feet on the floor or sitting down, as long as your feet are pointing down or whatever. And then you just imagine, and this is, everybody probably already does this, but imagine golden bright white light coming down to you from the source, and then going through your body, going down through the bottom of your feet, and grounding to Mother Earth. And then bring that back up to your belly button. Why belly button? Because in Hawaii, or they believe that everyone has a bowl of light, and it's like right to your solar, around there, solar, between solar and there's a bowl of light, and then everyone has it. And throughout our lives, it gets filled with rubbishes because of our experiences and all the things, right? So that's why we bring the light back up there to just help us get rid of that. And then through healing, rubbishes can get removed through healing and work. So bring the light back up to the bowl, your belly button, and then, so that's that. And then put a filter of protection around your aura. Again, bright white light, golden bright white light from the source. But we're using filter instead of shield, because filter is just like, imagine a net. You're filtering what is like love and light that's coming through. You're able to receive love and light, and you're also to give love and light through the filter. But also with that filter, you're blocking anything that's negative. So like, because if you shield, then you're not able to push out love and light from you, and you're not really able to bring in love and light to you. So filter of protection around your aura. Then the third one is the cord pulling. So again, this one I just kind of made it my own, but just like, I have my eyes closed, and then I just imagine all the things that's connected to me that I don't want to be connected. Could be someone, people, situation, all the things. I just kind of imagine grabbing all of them and pulling them outside of my field and letting go. And then bringing in love and light into those holes, because I pulled the cords, love and light into those holes. and just filling my body up with more love and light. Healing, loving light. And then the fourth one is the telephone line. I like calling it the telephone line because that's what he called it too. But it's the feelers. So we all have this and we all can control it. I wasn't aware of it until I took my class. So everyone has feelers or telephone lines. Just imagine telephone lines coming out of your head and you hear people's thoughts. And sometimes if you're not grounded, you hear people's thoughts and they become your own.
Yeah.
So like, especially people who are writing exams, they go into writing their exams and they feel anxious, even though they know they're very prepared. They know that they got this, but like they go and it's like, oh, I'm going to fail this test. Oh, I'm so nervous. I'm so anxious. It's because you're hearing other people's thoughts.
Yeah.
Or even when you're walking down the street and you see a guy walking by and then you can tell by his face or like the intentions aren't good, it's because you could hear his thoughts. So we're trying to not hear people's thoughts. So we're just going to bring that in. So imagine telephone lines or feelers or antennae, plural, antennae, bringing them all back in. So you just kind of bring all those lines back into your head. And then that's what I do in the morning.
I really love that sequence. It's so beautiful. Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's like, oh, that makes sense. And I do that in the morning and before I go to bed.
Okay. I love that. Yes. And it doesn't take long. That's the thing. It's like, these are the kinds of things that, you know, we think when people talk about self-care and spiritual immersion and all of that, it's like, oh, I don't have the time, but it's like, it can literally, especially after you practice it enough, be a few minutes.
Yes, for sure. And even like throughout the day, let's say you get ungrounded, then you can do it again. Like really no more than 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Because if you're by yourself, then you can do all the arm movements. But if you're out like at a grocery store, then you can just imagine because your mind is powerful. Yeah. No, but your mind is so powerful. So it's just like you just close your eyes and imagine. Yeah. So I was teaching my kids how to do that. Sometimes they remember and they need a reminder, but they're so open about it and they know it's like of love and they know that it's for protection and stuff. So
yeah, it's beautiful. Like my teenager who, you know, absolutely doesn't want to believe in this stuff, but you know, then she comes into my room. Can you ask the Akash this, that, or the other? Can you, you know, and then I see her intuition, like, you know, just exploding the more that we work together. And it's just, it's really beautiful to see that, you know, and it's also interesting to see how children can become like really egoic from a young age, just because of everything that they learn in society, you know, but they're so open. They're so open. And so I love that you have that safe space for your kids to explore it in whatever way they're meant. And if they don't go your way, that's fine, but at least they have options and they can feel and see what feels good to them, you know?
For sure. I think I may have told you, but both my kids, I feel like they're sensitive.
Yeah.
So like my oldest one, he's very empathic. Like he's very sensitive and empathic. And then the second one, I think he senses things.
Yeah. Yeah. My youngest is like psychic as they come. Holy crap.
Nice. Yeah. So I'm trying to like, not really like force them, but just be open to it and experience it that way. They're not afraid of it. I don't want them to be afraid of it because like, again, this is like coming from God. Like there's nothing to be afraid of. It's love. Yeah. So
what a brilliant way to wrap this baby up. Thank you, Mary Rose. Guys, if you don't like Mary Rose, I don't want to talk to you anymore. If you do, we're dropping all her links so that you can connect with her and say hi and just enjoy her fabulous, happy, high vibe, loving, understanding, completely unconditionally loving energy. So I really encourage you to connect with her and just have a conversation about anything that came forward. It could just be, hey, I love your energy. And that's it, you know, but just start a conversation because that's the brave step that we're sometimes hesitant to take. But it's these connections that we find. And the purpose of this show is to really embrace that there's connections for everyone. Not everyone's going to resonate with you. Not everyone's going to resonate with the next person or the previous person, but it's really being able to listen to your own gut and be brave enough to reach out. So we're dropping those here. You can reach out to Mary Rose, start a chat. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for inviting me. Oh my gosh, this is fun. This is playful. You're right.
See, it's always fun when we get together. It's so fun.
And I can't wait to okay, so Laura and I, we haven't seen each other in person. We've only just done like Zoom, and it's like almost 2 years. And I can't wait to see you next year because it's going to be so much fun.
Oh my God. Mary Rose is coming to my retreat. I cannot wait. I'm like, is it May already? Let's go.
Totally. Like, I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait to play and have so much fun. Like all the women that are going to be there. I'm so excited to be around all of you because you guys are queens. You guys are powerful. That's
the thing. That's what's beautiful. It's like every single person at that retreat is like a perfect match, like a perfect fit. It's everyone is a sovereign enlightened, like we all learn from each other. You know, we're all sovereign. We're all enlightened. We all have love to share. And it's like this beautiful exchange. And we get to be in this little portal for like 4 days.
Oh, yes. I'm so excited. I'm really I'm so bummed that I missed this year's. And I was looking at everyone's pictures and like Instagram stories, and I was having really bad FOMO. So I'm like, I can be playing right now. So next year I'm going to play. So
you are.
I'm really excited.
But you did insert your head into our picture.
I did.
Which I'm obsessed with. It was so much fun. Oh my God.
I was like, wait, I need to be there.
Oh my God, Heather wants to come too. Yes, I know. So much fun. Anyway.
Yes, Heather, come.
Oh, come on, dudes. All right. So we're going to sign off so you guys can enjoy your Monday, but we love you and thank you for joining us, and we'll see you very, very soon. Bye, friends.